Council Bluffs 69 in Lincoln.
Schrock Innovations presents the Midwest #1 independent computer repair company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, and Papillion, as well as online at SchrockInnovations.com through the Schrock desk. We're here to help you out when your computer has a problem, when something's broken and it needs to be fixed. I saw a work order in the service center yesterday. The subject, we have like a little brief subject and then a more detailed description of what, and the brief description said, get coffee out of laptop. That's what we do at Schrock. We can get the coffee out of your laptop. Now, today, we have a new call-in number because details in the aftershock today, guys. And one last giant gesture from our previous phone provider, they're not going to transfer our 800 numbers over to our new phone provider. It apparently seems that those 800, those toll-free numbers are not included in, your right to own your phone number kind of thing. So even if you're a business, it doesn't seem to work. So we have a new toll-free number for you to call into the program. And I want you to try it out. We want to make sure it's working, okay? If I don't have any calls by 20 minutes in, we're just going to revert back again to the numbers we used last week. But the new number, get your pens and pencils ready. Everybody says that I say it too fast. I can't say this number fast because I don't know this number yet. 888-250-2091. Now, there are a number of 7-letter words that are relevant to our company. For example, Schrock. That's 7 letters. Taken. Compute. Ooh, taken. We went through everything, and the only ones that are left are any number that has a 0 or a 1 can't spell anything because there's no letters on the keyboard for 0 or 1, and that's pretty much all the toll-free numbers that are left, unless you want that one toll-free prefix that looks like it could be a scam from South Africa. If you want that, 1822, and you're like, 822, I've never heard of that. I don't know if I want to do that. So we decided to go with the tried and true 888-250-2091. So it won't, there's no spelling anything. The zeros and the ones are evenly distributed throughout the number. So you can't even get 888-250 call. You can't even do that. So it's 888-250-2091 to join us on the program this morning. All right, so we got a pretty good show for you planned here today, guys. We got some good stories going on here. There was a Patch Tuesday last Tuesday, so if you have not rebooted your computer yet, you might want to do so to make sure that those patches get applied. There were some severe, it was a huge Patch Tuesday. There were some severe 0-day vulnerabilities that were patched during that. The other thing is we've seen some people coming into the service centers and a couple of emails coming in, people saying, hey, I got my computer back from some work, and I noticed that when I turned on the computer, my processor is spiking, like it's going to 100%, and this thing called Search UI or Cortana is using like 100% of my processor. What's going on? And my computer's really slow, which is kind of frustrating after you get it back from a computer repair shop. Well, it turns out, we thought that maybe we were doing a lot of these 1903 upgrades to the new version of Windows 10 for people who had Windows 7 before. We'll talk about that in the program here too today. But basically, as these are on sale right now for no labor, we're doing these upgrades for people to get them off of 7 and onto 10. And Cortana is new in Windows 10, and it's kind of the indexing. Cortana is the female version of Clippy the paperclip. Okay, you remember Clippy back from Office 1999? Clippy, hey, it looks like you're trying to write a letter. Would you like help? No, thank you, Clippy. Appreciate it. That's Cortana. She's the new Clippy. There's a meme going around actually where it's like a Scooby-Doo episode where they unmask old Cortana is actually Mr. Clippy. Oh, so this thing is using 100% of the processor, and we had no idea why, but it seems that after several hours, it goes back to normal. And we thought, well, gosh, okay, that's got to be something serious there. So, we're looking into it. Turns out that there is a bug with one of the patches we're going to tell you about today. So if you're experiencing that or issues with your audio, we've had a customer this week buy a pair of speakers from us, had trouble getting his speakers to actually to work with his computer. So that could be related here as well. So if you're having sound or audio issues, that could be part of what's going on, which would make it really difficult to actually, listen to the show on iHeart or anywhere else. Kind of tough. Also, Google is going to help everybody out. They are going to change the way that they rank news stories to reward original journalism, the OJ. They're going to reward people who have received prestigious awards, like a Pulitzer, for example. They're going to reward them and make sure that they get through. So, okay, it looks like the toll-free number is not working, guys. It's still directing over to the service center. All right, so we gotta get that figured out. So, all right, the toll-free number is supposed to go to the radio station while we're on the air, and then the rest of the time it goes to the shop, because if you hear the show when we're not actually on the air, if it's broadcast at a later time, and you call in, we want to give you help. So we redirect it to the shop. Well, it's still being redirected to the shop, so fun times there. Toll-free number today. All right, local numbers, 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Those are the numbers that will actually get you into the studio today for a shot at winning the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Oh, boy, we got a good aftershock coming today. Okay, so so Google's changing the way they rank news stories, and they're going to reward original journalism, especially original journalism that is viewed as prestigious, apparently, and they've given new directions to the 10,000 employees whose responsibility it is to identify what is a prestigious news story and which news stories are not so prestigious and worthy of ranking. So there's nothing that could possibly go wrong in that scenario. We'll talk about that coming up as well. Also, you've probably gotten one of these emails before. You get this email and it says, hello, we were watching your webcam and we noticed you looking at some websites that I won't go into details about here on the radio. And we've got some video of you and we're going to send it to all your friends if you don't pay us some Bitcoin. It's an extortion email. And ironically, some people actually pay it. So you got to wonder, But some people actually pay it. Well, it turns out the guy that was doing this was in France. They caught him. So yes, I don't know if they're going to give him like a cool name, like, you know, the Savvy Storter. I don't know what they're going to call the guy, but they caught him, and so he is being arrested and apparently debriefed. And it says on here that, you know, sometimes you see in news stories like, you know, tens of thousands of people were impacted, or tens of millions of people have no health insurance, or you hear, in this case, it was just tens of people were extorted. Tens. So that's more than 10. And less than, well, it's more than 20 to make it tens. So it's more than 20 and less than 100 people were actually paid the ransom for this. So maybe that's a good thing on society. Everybody kind of knows what's going on there. Golly. So what else do we got going on here, folks? There's a ton to talk about. We could talk about the new iPhones if you want to. We can talk about the shift, the interesting shift that's happening in the phone industry right now, where actually the iPhone debuted a little bit cheaper than expected. Which was kind of a shocker. Usually iPhones are more expensive, but now they're actually cheaper. And Apple appears to be shifting the focus onto services and streaming and things like that, and third-party products, the new Apple credit card, other ways that they can make money leveraging the phone that requires you to have an iPhone. And so they want to make sure the iPhones are cheaper so that you have an iPhone instead of an Android device, and then they can make money off of you in all these other areas. So it's kind of an interesting approach that Apple seems to be shifting gears and responding actually to the marketplace that's out there. Also, if you're a Disney fan, you may have noticed that Bob Iger left the Apple board this week, and we'll talk about all the streaming stuff that's coming. That the reason for that wasn't a bad thing. It was just it wasn't compatible anymore. He couldn't chill out with them anymore. In the service centers right now, guys, the new Lincoln Service Center now open in South Lincoln at 7501 South 15th Street. It's 2 blocks south of Pine Lake and 14th. But the new service center there is amazing. If you haven't been in there yet, we're putting the finishing touches on it right now to schedule some kind of a grand opening event coming up here. But we got the TVs up on the walls now, so we've got all the good stuff going there. It looks great in there. The service levels are doing great. All the systems have been moved and replicated, and we've got the kinks worked out. And except for the toll-free number, everything seems to be working pretty well now. Thank you, Spectrum. Yeah, you can't tell I'm a little upset about that, just a little bit. So we've only been branding that number for what, a decade, tens of years. All right. So otherwise, your call is also coming up on the program. 800-543-1110, 558-1110. Those are the numbers to join us on the show. Those of you who are still awake, because I don't care if you were listening in Nebraska or you were listening in Iowa this week, you had a good football game. 866. Oh, no. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. See, when you say a number over and over and over again for more than a decade, you tend to just kind of spit it out automatically. And you guys probably try to dial it automatically too. All right, let's jump into those phone lines here. First up on the program today is Cheryl. Cheryl, how can I help you today on Compute This?
Good morning, Thor.
Morning.
I had my machine in a couple weeks ago for the preventative maintenance, and I told him at that time that my screen jumps. It's like somebody hit the computer and the screen jumped.
Yes.
It's still doing that.
Now, when you say the screen jumps, do you mean like if you're typing text and like the cursor jumps up, or
No.
is the whole screen like vibrating?
The whole screen changes. I will like go to Hotmail, and I'll have one screen on top of the other one.
So you'll go to Hotmail.
Yes.
And what's the screen that pops up on top of the other one?
Hotmail.
So there's two copies of Hotmail open at the same time?
Yes.
Well, that sure is interesting. As I know, I think I actually saw this one because they said screen is jumping. And a lot of times when people say my cursor is jumping or my screen is jumping, it's a laptop and there's the palm rest and they're bumping the touchpad with their palm. And it's causing the cursor to jump up the screen or causing them to do phantom clicks. And so basically your touchpad, is it a laptop, by the way?
No, it's a desktop.
Oh, then that solves a lot of problems there. It's not because on touchpads, the newer ones especially, you don't have to actually click the mouse. You can just tap on the pad and it results in a click that opens Windows. All right, so now if you're getting a situation where the computer is opening multiple windows, in the service center, when we had it in for the maintenance checkup, we went through and we scanned with 2 different malware scanning programs. We ran 2 different cleaning programs to make sure that all the cookies and registry problems and all that were sorted out. We did all the Windows updates. We did a lot of stuff on the computer. We defragmented it. There's a lot of things that we did where we had Windows open and it wasn't jumping around in the service center, or we would have said something. We would have been like, okay, it's jumping around in here. So when a computer is doing something like that at home that it's not doing in the service center, first of all, it's incredibly frustrating for you because, heck, I had just had it in and I wanted you to look at it. It's also frustrating for us because, golly, we can't get it to do what the customer is experiencing, so how are we supposed to fix it? So the first thing that we want to do is there's 2 options here. There's something that's unique about the computer in your home that's different than the computer in the service center. So things that are different. For example, we were using our own keyboard and mouse in the service center. We weren't using yours. There may be other devices hooked up to the computer, like printers, your monitor, for example. We weren't using your monitor. We were using our monitor. Now, those things, like printers and monitors, shouldn't impact it, but keyboards and mice sometimes can. So basically, what I'd like to have you do, now, we didn't technically work on the problem because we couldn't repeat the problem. So you weren't charged, unless you were you charged an hour of labor for us to look at that problem?
No.
Okay, so that means they couldn't repeat the problem, and they weren't going to charge you an hour of labor to diagnose something that they couldn't diagnose, that they couldn't see happening on the screen. So what we need to do now is a couple different things. Number one, is it predictable? Does it jump all the time, or does it jump some of the time?
All the time.
Okay, perfect. So what we'd like to do then, the easiest thing to do would actually be to get on a Schrock desk with you. And let's get on a Schrock desk and then have you do what you normally do to get the screen to jump. And then we'll take a look at what's happening and see if we can discern from our end what's causing that to happen. If we can see what's causing it to happen, then we can hopefully diagnose it for you and get you a resolution of some sort. If that doesn't work out, the next step is we'd want you to either bring the computer into the shop with the keyboard and mouse so that we can take a look at the input devices you're using, and then have you do the same thing in the service center. Because of all the cleaning that we did during the maintenance checkup, we don't log into your email. I mean, it's just kind of a privacy thing. We don't get into your personal stuff. So, we didn't log in. We had other websites open, but we didn't log into your email and go to Hotmail specifically. So what we'd want to do is have you step in with us and go through those things to see if that's actually causing that there's a problem there that we can resolve for you. So the first thing that I would have you do then is go ahead and give us a call in the service center. We're open Saturday from 10 until 8. We're open Sunday from noon to 5. But give us a call in the service center. Let us get on the Schrock desk with you. There's no charge because this would be considered a warranty from your visit. Normally it's $30 a month for a Schrock desk, but for the subscription anyway. But in this case, it would be a warranty, and we can help you out with that over the Schrock desk. For those of you who are new to the program, the Schrock desk is our online support vehicle. Thank you for the call, Cheryl. I appreciate it. We also got Cheryl in the drawing here. for the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. But the Schrock Desk is our remote support option that allows us to connect with your computer over the internet in a safe and secure way. We can't connect anytime we want. You have to go to our website, and then we have to give you a code. So it requires both of us to be together on the phone to get connected. And then once we're connected, we can deliver a variety of digital services to you no matter where you're located. You could be in Des Moines, and we don't have a service center there just yet, but you could be in Des Moines and need help with something, and we can help you out with that. If you're having trouble with your secure updater or your drive advisor or your endpoint, we can use the Schrock Desk to assist with that. So it's a pretty handy little tool. We sell a general subscription. It's like $30 a month, unlimited use, that you can get on our website, SchrockInnovations.com. Or you can do a per incident, which is the same cost as being on our bench in the service center, $110 an hour, and then we do the same level of work for you. But I tell you, because when you get the subscription, it's so handy. Number one, you get half off of all labor services. So you get half off of your maintenance checkups anytime you want them. You don't have to wait for the sales. You get half off of the safe upgrades when we come out with those. We'll have another one probably coming up here close to November. So you get half off of those. You get half off of any hourly labor. If something breaks and you need it fixed or you want anything done, you get half off of that too. So if you have 1 or 2 incidents in a year with your computer, the Schrock Desk pays for itself easily over the course of the year, $30 a month, and you can cancel at any time. It's not like a year subscription or anything like that. All right, 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Got to take our first break of the program. When we come back, Windows 10 1903 Patch Tuesday, and now they need patches for the patches. We're going to tell you why your computer might be having speed or sound issues after the latest update. Coming up next on Compute This.
Today's fragile computers need maintenance more than ever. Your computer needs a maintenance checkup every 6 months to last beyond its 18-month expected lifespan. Some people like desktops for their power and upgradability, but nothing rivals a laptop for computing on the go. But why should you have to sacrifice performance for portability? The innovators at Schrock want our customers to have it all, so we created a new kind of laptop, the solid-state laptop from Schrock Innovations. Solid-state laptops are built using the same frame and mainboards as regular laptops, but we've removed half of the moving parts while more than doubling the computer's speed. The result? Laptops that boot to Windows in 6 seconds or less, respond instantly to your commands, and can survive drops that put most laptops into the data recovery lab. Starting at only $499, solid-state laptops give you speed, reliability, durability, and performance for the same price most people pay for a cheap disposable laptop. The next time you're looking for a laptop, check out the solid-state laptops at SchrockInnovations.com or visit any of our service centers. Simple, solid, fast technology is what we do at Schrock. Compute This pro tip number 753. Have you ever wondered how the bad guys always seem to find a way into your computer? Gone are the good old days of email worms and I love you viruses. Nobody wants to steal your data anymore, or in many cases, even your identity. Today's cyber criminals want to sell access to your computer or hold your data for ransom. The bad guys are exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities to break into systems that are supposed to be hack-proof. These vulnerabilities are always newly discovered, and the criminals have a brief time to exploit them before they get patched. Antivirus and firewalls do not prevent these attacks, but you can minimize your computer's exposure by installing all security patches as quickly as possible. The average computer needs 12 patches a week. That's not including the ones that are automatically delivered to your computer. Boost your cybersecurity by staying on top of it manually, or use a patch installation program like Secure Updater to get your computer the patches it needs. This pro tip is brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company, service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, and Papillion. The phone numbers to call into the program today, 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Yes, I know those are not the normal numbers, but they're all going to be new numbers here soon. All right, guys. So if you haven't noticed, last Tuesday was Patch Tuesday. And what happens on Patch Tuesday is the second Tuesday of the month, Microsoft downloads all the updates and patches to your computer that it's processed and built over the last month. Now, other companies have also taken to releasing their patches on Patch Tuesday as well, just because everyone's in the mood to patch. IT administrators are patching. Everybody's patching, so let's give them all patches to install. So when you get these patches from Microsoft, it's automatic. You don't have to actually go get the patches. The patches will come to your computer, they will download, they will process, and they will prepare for installation upon restart. Now, we always have said on the program here that you want to leave your computer on as often as possible, all the time if you can. So sometimes if you leave it on all the time, the computer after like 14 days, it will restart itself to install the patches, and it doesn't give you a choice. In this particular situation, there were some really nasty updates or really nasty problems that were patched in these updates, and you definitely want to make sure you reboot your computer if you haven't done so already to install those patches. Now, one of the patches that Microsoft put out was a patch for Windows 10 version 1903, so you wouldn't experience this problem if you didn't have the most recent version of Windows, which you should have by now. It was released in May. But this new version of this new patch, 1903 users are reporting new audio problems that are causing especially video games to be hit. PUBG, which is the precursor to Fortnite. If you're having audio issues with Fortnite or PUBG or any of your other games, it could be this patch that you got on Patch Tuesday. After Microsoft's botched attempt to create to fix a Cortana-related bug affecting, if I could talk today, I'm only on the radio. You know, talking is just kind of the prerequisite, right? Let's try this again. Bah. Maggie made me mash my M&Ms. There we go. After Microsoft's botched attempt to fix a Cortana-related bug affecting Windows 10 versions 1903, the company has now posted a help article telling users how to fix the problem that it created. This week, Microsoft released some fixes that were meant to address CPU spiking issues. This is what I talked about earlier in the program, where your processor bolts up to 100% and then, comes down again or stays at 100%, meaning it's working at top capacity. And if your processor is churning on Cortana stuff with 100% of its attention, it doesn't have a lot of attention left for you and your email and your web browsing and your bill pay and your genealogy stuff. I mean, anything you're trying to do on the computer or your PUBG game, it runs much slower and with much less responsiveness because your computer is busy doing something that's not really important. As Microsoft explained on Tuesday, the latest update was meant to address the high CPU usage from the Cortana search assistant, and it only occurs in devices that have disabled searching the web using Windows desktop search. Okay, so there's, if you disabled some stuff, then you're more likely to be impacted than not. Most people don't disable stuff, but we've seen people in the Service Center this week that were impacted by this that didn't disable anything. Microsoft has acknowledged the new search issues, and on Wednesday posted a support article entitled Fix Problems in Windows Search. And it applies to all versions of Windows 10, not just 1903. Very interesting. While it's not clear that the help article relates directly to the new search issues, it's posted by Microsoft the day after it acknowledged the problem. So basically what's happening here, on installed games such as PUBG, Players Unknown Battlegrounds, the bass is completely gone and the sound is dampened. The sound is super quiet. The problem seemingly affects installed games and apps, but not sound from browser apps like YouTube. So if you have a situation where some programs, the audio is working great, but then you go to other programs and the audio doesn't work, this could be the thing that's plaguing your computer. Overwatch is super muffled. They can barely hear anything. Let's see. There's all kinds of people are listing all the different games that they have issues with here. But needless to say, any game that's having sound issues, this is probably the cause and why it's happening, and something that you should take a look at and see about getting fixed. Unfortunately, there's an article that tells you what you can do. Of course, if you're having this issue, you can give us a call in the Service Center. This is something that we can look at over the Schrock desk. This is also something that we can look at in the Service Center as well if you want to bring that computer in. Although if you're a heavy gamer, bringing your computer in probably isn't the most fun thing that you want to do. All right, so right now, guys, we have a big sale going on in the Service Centers. This is our September 20th anniversary sale. The 20th anniversary sale this month is an upgrade, basically, from Windows 7 to Windows 10. We can also upgrade it. This is something we didn't point out last week, but we can also upgrade Windows 8.1 to Windows 10. So you can have Windows 7 or Windows 8 to Windows 10 for no labor. So we very, very rarely put labor on sale at the shop, guys. I mean, we're a service company. That's what we sell, right? But right now there is no labor. All you have to do is purchase the Windows 10 license, which is $199. That's home or professional, and we will upgrade your computer to Windows 10 from Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 for just the cost of the software. So if your computer can't be upgraded because it has a hardware limitation, something that's really old that doesn't work with Windows 10, or if there's something that needs to be replaced to make it work with Windows 10, that kind of stuff isn't covered. You have a choice then. You can say, I don't want to upgrade to Windows 10, which if you're on Windows 7 is a pretty big problem. Your Windows 7 computer, the Windows 7 operating system is end of life in January. So what, it's September now? We're halfway through September already. So wow, that does not leave you a lot of time, guys. That's 2.5 months before or maybe 3 if you're counting actual days, until your Windows 7 computer will no longer receive security updates that protect you from the latest viruses, zero-day vulnerabilities, and break your sound. So, you won't get these important, sound fixing updates anymore. I'm kind of tongue-in-cheek here a little bit, guys. These updates are actually really important. There was 80 of them this month. One of them had a small issue. 80 different updates. 16 of them were critical zero-day vulnerabilities. Without these patches, you are a walking, talking virus magnet that antivirus cannot help you with. So it's really important that you start to make a plan. I'm not saying you have to do this right now and jump into the service center and, certainly you could buy a new computer. That's another perfectly legitimate way to handle this. But if you have a Windows 7 computer and you like your computer and you want to keep your computer, it is time to move to Windows 10. If, on the other hand, you have a Windows 7 computer that's been with you for years and you're thinking about replacing it anyway, you should make plans in your family budget to budget that in before January. So I know that Schrock is going to have some pretty spectacular holiday specials, which is what we always do. Sometimes that works for people, sometimes not. But if you're planning on looking at a new computer, we can certainly help you out with that at Schrock as well. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Those are the numbers to join us on the program. And of course, we will be giving away a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate here at the end of the show that you could put toward that Windows 7 upgrade if you wanted to. So Windows 7 to Windows 10, no labor, just the cost of the software. It's going on this month at Schrock Innovations. All right, we're going to take our quick break here at the bottom of the hour. Stay with us, because when we come back, the French guy who is sending those emails about monitoring your webcams, well, he got caught. And so we're going to talk about that. Also, Google has decided that it's time for them to decide what's news and what's really news. So they are going to reward original journalism. And we're going to tell you exactly how they plan to figure that out coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations can't teleport technicians to you, but online help is only a click away with the Schrock Desk. Subscribe today and get unlimited help whenever you need it. In 1798, Eli Whitney's Connecticut Musket Factory was the first business in North America to use replaceable parts in a firearm. Before Eli's factory, if your musket broke, you had to send it away to an expert gunsmith for repairs, or just toss it and buy a new musket. Technology manufacturing has come a long way since the 18th century, but you wouldn't know it by looking at today's big box store computers. Dell, HP, Sony, and other manufacturers continue to take away your freedom to upgrade and repair your computer by eliminating expansion and repair options. Some desktops are even powered by a tiny laptop adapter. Schrock Innovations believes in Eli Whitney's idea of interchangeable and replaceable components, and that's why our custom-built modular computers last longer and cost less to repair than computers you see at big box stores. Ask your friends and family how often they replace their box store computers, and they'll probably tell you every couple of years. And what do they do with the old machines? They just get thrown out like broken muskets. Imagine a place where your computer's problems can be fixed quickly and inexpensively. Imagine keeping your computer for 6 years or more. You are imagining the kind of computers we build every day at Schrock Innovations. Our modular systems last longer, perform faster, and cost less over the long term than anything you can buy at a big box store. While the talented technicians at Schrock Innovations can't make you a musket even if they tried, our commitment to the freedom offered by modular computers is the modern-day extension of Eli's innovative musket factory. We think Eli Whitney would be proud, and you can take pride in owning a small piece of American innovation. The modular computer from Schrock Innovations. Compute This pro tip number 187. Recently, you may have received a phone call from someone claiming to be from Microsoft or had a message pop up on your screen telling you that your computer was infected. Do not respond to these calls or messages. They're always a scam. Microsoft will never call you about your computer. Here's how the scam actually shakes out. You get the phone call that your computer's infected. The scammers hit you with some mumbo jumbo about an infected IP address. They'll ask your permission to connect and help you fix it. Once they're in your computer, they do a bunch of fake scans that detect a lot of problems that really aren't there. You see the scan results and figure your computer's in trouble. Next, the scammers will demand up to $400 to clean up the computer and set you up with a lifetime protection. Don't fall for the scam. Keep good security software installed, like Endpoint and Secure Updater, so when things like this do happen, you know you are covered. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. No damage done, but Tropical Storm Umberto did dump a lot more rain as it passed over the Bahamas Saturday. The National Hurricane Center says, watch out. This storm could turn into a Category 2 or 3 hurricane by midweek.
It's going to be over the Atlantic Ocean, poses no direct threat to the United States, other than it will increase the surf along the beaches from Florida up to the Carolinas.
Senior hurricane specialist Stacy Stewart. At least 20 are injured along the Jersey Shore Saturday in the collapse of a multi-story deck.
According to witnesses, guests at the 3-story structure were on the 2 upper decks and the porch below. The victims included firefighters in town for the annual Firefighters Convention and their families.
Joanne Pelleggio, WTXF Fox Philadelphia, says several kids are among those injured. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
A warm and humid start to the day with temperatures in the upper 60s. We'll see the heat build in this afternoon. High temperatures around 91, but the heat index could climb as high as 95. Overnight, mostly clear with lows around 70. Still hot and humid on Monday with high temperatures around 91. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist David Keller on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
70 in Omaha, Council Bluffs, 68 in Lincoln.
All right, folks, thanks for sticking with us through the break there. My name's Thor Schrock. You're listening to Compute This. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. Now, Schrock Innovations, if you couldn't gather from the content of our program here, we fix computers. That's kind of what we do. But we also do a lot of other stuff that is associated with fixing computers. For example, we have the Midwest's only fully equipped data recovery lab in our Omaha Service Center. So if you ever have a hard drive or camera card or something that just stops holding the data or stops working, if you bring it into us, 92% of the time, we can actually get the data back off of that device and get it back to you. The prices that we charge for that service are much less expensive than the national labs. We start at $400 and we go up from there. So compare that with, okay, I go back and forth on this because I know if we do this, we're going to get sued. I just know it's going to happen because there's so much money at stake in this industry. Okay, data recovery companies are not, they're not honest companies. They're just not. Even the big guys, they're not. So here's the thing. What we're going to do, what we've talked about doing at Schrock is we talked about taking a hard drive, taking like 10 identical hard drives, putting 10 identical data sets on each hard drive. So all of them have the same data. And then we're going to do something simple. Like we're just going to break the partition, which is a fancy way for saying we're going to do a quick format on the drive so that it shows like the hard drive has no content on it. So it's just a broken partition. It can easily be rebuilt. It can be fixed in about 30 seconds with software. We wouldn't even call this a data recovery at Schrock Innovations. This would get kicked out of the data recovery lab back to the dumb technician that gave it to us and say, fix this yourself for an hour of labor. This should be a 110 fix and out the door again. This should not be a data recovery for $400 because it's so incredibly easy to fix. But if we take that same incredibly easy to fix drive, we have done this before and send it off to a national lab, we'll get a quote no less than $1,300 back every time. So we thought, wouldn't it be funny if we got 10 drives together and we sent them out to 10 of the top national labs just to see which national lab is actually honest, on the full belief that none of them are. And so we send out the drives. Then I thought, you know what will happen is if they come back and if we actually put the logos of the companies with the drives, they'll just sue us. Those like, take that down, take that video down, or we're going to sue you, cease and desist, blah, 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 because they can't have that negative stuff out there about their company. So we thought, well, maybe we'll do it, but we'll blur the logos maybe. Yeah, we could try that. And we could make it funny, like, oh, this mystery company #1, and it's like completely obvious who it is through the colors that are blurred in the logo. Like, well, we blurred the logo. Or we could say their names in Pig Latin. We thought we could try that too. That might be a good way to make sure people don't understand who we're actually talking about, because nobody can do. They don't teach Pig Latin in school anymore. You remember writing notes to your friends in Pig Latin in school? Teachers couldn't figure that out. So anyway, 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. So we do data recovery. We build new computers too. We have our full line of modular desktop computers. They are different than any other desktop computer that you can purchase anywhere. They're custom made. Each computer is made by hand in the Papillion Service Center for you individually. The components that we use are the highest quality components, and we not only look at the highest quality of components, but we look at even high quality components fail sometimes. So, for example, we don't use SanDisk hard drives anymore. And the reason that we don't use SanDisk hard drives anymore is because they can only be recovered by one company that will charge you $2,600 to recover a 120 gig hard drive. And they're official partners with SanDisk. So, we don't use those anymore, because why would we use a hard drive that we can't even recover? If something goes wrong and you don't have a backup, we want to be able to at least give you options. These are the things that don't get thought about when you go to another custom computer company, or certainly when you get a computer from HP or Dell. It doesn't matter. We're trying to think about the whole user, the whole computer, in relation to how you're going to use it, and how can we deliver you the best product today? How can we deliver you the best product tomorrow? And how this product will last for years and years down the line, instead of being planned to be obsolete in 18 months, which is what you get right now when you buy a laptop from HP, Dell. I'm not knocking those companies. I'm saying those are the ones that people think of, most often. But it's the same thing with just about every other mass-produced. If you get a Sony, they're all designed to last about 18 months before they're obsolete. Obsolete from the hardware failing, obsolete from the software not being able to be upgraded, or obsolete in the fact that you can't upgrade the hardware because it's all baked together into one tight package. You've seen the pictures on our Facebook page of the computers that are that are all baked together. We put a picture up of that HP a few weeks ago to show you, and that one was a couple of gens old, actually. That one, it's much worse now than it was back then. All right, so one thing that I saw that was really cool that came across my email that I hadn't seen before. This could be like the next big thing, or it could be one of those stupid fads that nobody cares about. But I think we're going to order one in and take a look at it, because the price points are suspiciously close to be a holiday special laptop. Asus has a brand new laptop that's come out, and instead of a touchpad, it has something called a view pad. And if you want to think about it this way, it's a touchscreen phone instead of a touchpad. So it's a full screen phone screen in your computer, in your laptop's base, that works as a touchpad, but then you can do things on it. It's an actual touch screen, so you can launch programs from it. So imagine it's like every quick launch button you've ever had in your life, combined with a touchpad that's incredibly responsive and supports gesture control. It's a pretty innovative, neat little thing. It could be a fad, like a netbook, didn't really catch on very well. Or it could be like the next big thing. We don't know yet. But we're probably going to order one and take a look at it just to see kind of what it's about, because it looks pretty darn cool. So we'll keep you up to date on those as well. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. So if you received one of those emails, and I get about 2 calls a week from people that receive these spam emails. This guy in France, it was a 20-year-old guy who got arrested in France this week. And the way that these emails work is, and I'm going to try to, this is Sunday morning, guys. I'm going to try to keep this clean for all the families listening. But what he would do is he would basically say that he hacked your computer and he took over your webcam, and he watched you while you were looking at certain websites. And as a result, he has some compromising photos, images, and video of you, and audio, to release to all of your friends, because he hacked your computer too, and he knows who all of your friends are, and he's going to send all this nastiness to all of your friends if you don't pay a Bitcoin ransom. So it's called an extortion email that people get. Now, the funny thing is customers call me about this, and they're like, well, I know it's fake because I don't do things like that. I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. Then why are you calling me? But I totally get that. But no, this is actually fake. There's no images of you out there anywhere. There's no video. How did he know my email? He's buying emails by the bajillion online and sending it to everybody he can. He has no idea who you are, what you are. The English is bad, the whole bit. Police in France have arrested a 20-year-old man for his role in blackmailing thousands of French and international users with so-called extortion emails over the past few months. The suspect, whose name has not been released, I bet they have video and audio of him though, was arrested on Monday, September 9th, by officers from the Office of Combating Cybercrime. Oh my gosh, this acronym is OCLCTIC. Oh yeah, Commander, get some coffee from the OCLCTIC and just say it. The Office for Combating Cybercrime actually is easier to say. Oh, it's acronyms gone crazy. Alphabet soup time. All right. So he was arrested at the Paris airport after returning from the Ukraine. All the hackers live in the Ukraine. Reports from Radio France and other local French media said the man is a French citizen living in the Ukraine, and he's now been placed under judicial control and banned from leaving the country. Authorities said the suspect sent out massive spam campaigns that contained so-called extortions. These emails that these scammers send to random users in which they claim to be in possession of sensitive images or videos of the user engaging in various acts. The scammer often claims that they've obtained these images or videos by hacking the account. Blackmail the user, pay me a fee. Tactics like this have been going on for more than 2 decades. So basically, this dude, he made over 20,000 euros. That's like $4 Canadian. No, I'm just kidding. He made over 20,000 euros, guys. That's a lot of money people paid over this. He was one of the top people that does this internationally. He usually demanded 500 euros, about 550 US dollars from victims, paid in Bitcoin. According to sources of the investigation, he tricked at least 50 people into paying him. He made over $22,000 getting 50 people to pay him. The French authorities say they received over 28,000 reports and 1,900 formal complaints. Wow. So when they say, like, call your congressman or something, maybe they actually do keep track of that stuff. So basically this stuff isn't going to stop because the model works. 50 people paid, and all this guy had to do to earn $25,000 was send, how many million emails, click, click, boom, and, watch the money roll in. So anyway, and then they never said like how, over what period of time, because if he got that Bitcoin before Bitcoin's price doubled, well, then now it's $44,000 all of a sudden. So if you get one of these emails, guys, first of all, this is something that we have to repeat every program. Microsoft will not call you. Google will not call you. AOL will not call you. And watch out for this one. One of my employees got hit with this one. OPPD will not call you. Yeah, this is a new one. Have you heard about this scam? Okay, so they do this to businesses. So it's usually done on a weekend when the boss isn't around, and the business gets a phone call saying this is OPPD, you have a past due power bill, and we're sending someone out in 30 minutes to shut off your power unless you make a payment over the phone. And so if the employee can't get a hold of his boss, so like, Brian calls me, Thor, OPPD is going to shut off our power. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We have that on auto pay. Like, we kind of need that, So I go and look into our accounts, and sure enough, all the payments are cleared. So I'm like, if there's a problem, first of all, it's kind of weird this is happening on a Saturday afternoon. What the heck? So sure enough, it was one of the scams. And, I told Brian, don't give him any money. Are you sure, Thor? Because they're going to cut off our power. They're not going to cut off the power, Brian. It's okay. So we didn't pay. The power didn't get cut. But that's the scam. You pay the scammers your fake, quote-unquote, power bill, and then all of a sudden your power is restored. And they'll usually say something like, well, you only have to pay the past due portion of the bill. And then it's a smaller amount, and it doesn't line up with any of the billing easily. So watch out for that if you're a business owner, if you get one of those calls. Maybe residential users too. I don't know if they're getting hit with that, but it's definitely not real. But it's the same thing. These people are getting calls from Microsoft all the time saying their computer is infected. People are getting emails, and customers call me and say, Thor, how did they know I have a computer? Well, they probably just gambled on the fact that you probably did. I mean, there is a digital divide in America, but most people are on one side of it than the other. So most people have at least some computational device. So, the odds are you've got a computer in your house. So they're going to call you. It's like saying, how does Geico know that I can save hundreds of dollars on my auto insurance? Probably the average user, it's in the fine print. I actually saw that during the football game. The average user saves $560. I just have to say that I must be well below average. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. We're going to take a quick break here on the program. Final break of the show. When we come back, Randy, stay on the line. Your call is coming up next on Compute This.
If you can dream it, Schrock Interactive's website developers can make it happen. Refresh your website, automate sales and marketing, and grow your business today with Schrock Interactive. Every person listening to this broadcast has either experienced data loss or knows someone who has. When you think about it, you have a lot more data stored in many more places than you'd like to admit. Have you downloaded those videos from your phone, backed up the pictures on your iPad, or even tackled that sometimes daunting task of backing up your entire computer's hard drive? Most people just don't back up their stuff, and that's why Schrock Innovations has one of the most advanced data recovery centers in the Midwest. Equipped with the latest DDI data imaging devices, state-of-the-art custom recovery software, and Omaha's best data recovery technicians, Schrock Innovations has a 96.8% success rate when recovering data from damaged hard drives, flash drives, camera cards, and more. We all know we should back up our data, but if you are ever caught in a data loss nightmare, call the experts at Schrock Innovations to get your data back right where it belongs, safe and backed up on a stable hard drive. And now, ComputeThis Pro tip number 373. Everyone knows we're supposed to back up our computers and then check those backups periodically to make sure they're working. So why don't most people do it? Lots of people have different ideas about what backing up means. Is it copying files to a flash drive? Is it using a fancy backup program? And how do you know it's working anyway? Windows makes backups easy through free software that's already on your computer. Open your control panels and click Update and Security. Select Backup and choose from all of the available options to get a regular, reliable checkup. You'll need something to back up to, like a Schrock modular storage device or some other backup hard drive. Backups usually run once a week, but you can always change the frequency. The best part is that if your backup ever fails, you'll see a notification in the lower right corner by your clock telling you something's up. Backing up your important data has never been easier. So take a moment to back up your computer today. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys. Final segment of the program today. So now is the time to call 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. If you're listening and you're new to the program, there is no prohibition from calling earlier in the show. It's just that for whatever reason, everybody calls later in the program. But Randy, you were kept on hold, so you're technically, you called before the end of the program. So we're going to get you on and make sure we get your question answered. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Hey, so a couple weeks ago, you had a deal on where somebody approached you in a supermarket about leaving his laptop plugged in to the AC all the time.
Yes.
And then you never finished with whether or not that's good for the battery or not.
I thought I did. I didn't? Oh, goodness.
No, you just left us hanging.
Wow, left you wanting more. That's why you're back this week, though, Randy. See how I did there? No, okay. So basically, with a computer with battery, and we're going to do a whiteboard explainer video for the website on this too, because we get this question a lot. But the battery technologies have changed over the years, and the current generation technology, the lithium-ion battery, has no memory effect. It can be plugged in. It can be left plugged in all the time. It can be drained and recharged a number of times. It's usually good for about 200,000 charge-recharge cycles before the battery will completely fail. There's an arc of failure. So if you leave your computer plugged in all the time, you're effectively never using the battery. It's just continuously trickle charged and topped off. That battery will still fail eventually. They will all fail eventually. But anytime you drain the battery below 40% and charge it back up again, that's a charge-recharge cycle. So the things that kill batteries, extreme temperatures, being out in the freezing cold for an extended period of time, the computer that I take with me on camping trips in the wee hours of the morning in the cold days of the year with my scouts, or my phone battery. Those are the ones that tend to get zapped the quickest when I do those cold weather campouts. Charging, recharging a lot, constantly running your battery to zero and charging it back up. It doesn't hurt the battery any more than not using it. It's just that you only get so many charge, recharge cycles because that arc of failure starts to happen. So to answer your question directly, I keep my computer plugged in all the time, my laptop, because I want to leave my computer powered on and connected to the internet all the time. And to do that, I have to leave it plugged in. It doesn't last on the battery forever. But on the other hand, if I do have to run it on battery, I'm not afraid to do that. I mean, that's what the battery is for. So to answer your question, use your laptop the way that you want to use it. That's why you have a laptop. You bought it for the portability of using it. If it's plugged in all the time, obviously it's not very portable. But so when you can, leave it plugged in. Overnight, whatever. When you need to have it portable, don't be afraid to unhook it and take it with you. It's not like the old days where you had to worry about, making sure the battery was fully charged before you took it off the charger, or it would develop a memory effect. No, those kind of things don't happen to modern batteries anymore.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problem, Randy. Thanks for being persistent with me there. I appreciate it. Sometimes the Thor brain gets going a little too quick and it jumps tracks, and then I kind of lose where I was at before. So apologize last week, guys. I didn't mean to leave you all hanging on that. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. All righty. So we've got a new thing with Google going on here. Google wants to determine what is news and what is not news. So basically, or more importantly, Google wants to determine what is first original journalism. They're calling it rewarding original journalism. And the purpose for doing this is to de-emphasize places that take content from the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and reword it and repurpose it and post it somewhere else. Or in a classic, Peter Parker news world, whoever gets the story first wins, right? So they want to make sure that the company that gets the story first is the company that gets rewarded in the search engines by high search placement. So there's no word here, because one of the things that news places have a big issue with is Google taking snippets of their stories and taking those snippets and posting them up on the page, so you don't have to click the link to get the information from the story. So the example, what Google's calling it, Google is finally changing its algorithm to boost original news reporting, which is something that Facebook and Apple News still are not great at. Okay, so that's the story. So what Google is trying to do here is they're trying to edit the way that their algorithm works to see who posts the story first, who has the first story. But that's not enough. It's not enough to be first. So if you're a blogger and you're on the scene of a terrible accident or some kind of a terrorist attack, and you're reporting with your cell phone and blogging real quick about it, you're the first person on the scene. Your website is going to get a lot of traffic, a lot of eyeballs. Your ads are going to get a lot of clicks. You're going to make some money. That's what journalism has a problem with right now. There's no way to make money at it anymore. And that's why you don't see the investigative journalism that you saw back in the 80s and the early 90s. That's why you don't see, news. You see all these news agencies recycling canned stories over and over again, because it costs money to have original reporting. It costs money to have reporters in the field. So the problem with this, though, is now that Google's going to place a value judgment, though, on the news organization. For example, the new algorithm is going to take into account whether the news organization has received a prestigious award in the past, like a Pulitzer Prize. So bloggers I don't think you can even win those if you're a blogger. If you were blogging the 9/11 towers coming down at the time it happened, I don't think you would win a Pulitzer for that. I don't think that because it's the news industry rewarding the news industry, so they're not going to grab an upstart and reward them. So when you search for a news story, Google's algorithm ranks certain articles above others. In the past, both the search and news algorithms have been criticized for instances where aggregated stories like the Drudge Report appear above the original breaking news story, in effect rewarding the news outlets for reposting news instead of breaking it first. These changes, already implemented in search and soon to roll out under news, are meant to highlight articles that Google identifies as significant original reporting. Of course, Google notes there's no arbitrary standard for what constitutes original reporting, so they'll rely on an older technology to make sure the algorithm works properly. Humans. Oh, filthy humans. Google counts on more than 10,000 human raters to review and evaluate its search algorithm. These raters follow a lengthy document of search rather than guidelines, which Google has also updated to reward original reporting. To illustrate the update, in section 5.1 of the guidelines, we instruct raters to use the highest rating, very high quality, for original news reporting that provides information that would not otherwise have been known had the article not revealed it. Original, in-depth, and investigative reporting require a high degree of skill, time, and effort, and they left out money. News algorithms don't usually boost original reporting or local journalism, is the major problem that they're trying to correct here. The problem is it's also going to de-emphasize citizen journalism, which has kind of been at the forefront. I mean, when you look back at, I think the first big news story that I can think of that was broke by a citizen reporter was when Dan Rather was reporting on the George W. Bush draft dodging stuff, and he had that letter that was typed on a typewriter, and everyone just took it as gold, and it was Dan Rather, right? Everybody just said, okay, this has to be true, and then some blogger on the internet found that it said the 45th or something, and the way that the TH was up higher, typewriters can't do that. So this was obviously created on a computer with the font set to typewriter font. So this is fake. And then all of a sudden it caught on, and the news agencies all had to come back and report that it was fake. And, Dan Rather, of course, ended up where he's at. And, there was a big black eye for CBS and everything else. So it was a real weird scenario to have a citizen journalist upend And then once that happened, once they showed that they could do it, it started happening all the time where people don't believe anything now. And now with all the deep fake technology out there, the biggest thing on deep fakes that's happening now is deep fake voices. That has us in the radio industry very concerned about this. So if they can get a large enough sample of your voice, which anyone who's on the radio for an extended period of time can do, or if you do a lot of press conferences, like if you're a big CEO or you're Tim Cook or something, all of a sudden I can get a big enough sample of your voice that I can have someone kind of sort of talk like you, but then I can completely change the sound of the voice to be your voice. And I can record a message that's like, oh, Sally in accounting, we need to send Scott Voorhees a $50,000 check this afternoon. Please make sure that gets cut immediately. If you have questions, don't call me. I don't have time for this. Just get it done. If you like your job, you'll get it done. Click. Now, poor Sally, you know, but maybe she sends the check, right? And all of a sudden, that check wasn't supposed to go out. All of a sudden, Scott gets a $50,000 check in the mail, thinks it's a Publishers Clearinghouse thing, throws it in the trash. And that's how the story ends. No, that's not how it ends. The scammer gets the check and cashes the check before anybody knows what happened. And then all of a sudden, you're wondering, wow, where did the $50,000 go? And you realize that your own accounting department sent out a check. And when you ask why on earth would you send some guy a check that you've never heard of, we don't have an invoice for, like, why would you do that? And they say, well, sir, you called and demanded that I do it or I would be fired. I did? I don't think I did that. You didn't do that. It's a deep fake voice. So that's the new ones now that are coming out too. So that'll be interesting because the problem you have now, somebody pointed out to me, it's like if someone was going to do deep fake voices of like, you know, international leaders like presidents and such, you know, they could say some completely outrageous things. And sometimes you'd be like, that can't be true. And other times you'd be like, well, you know, it's possible. You don't really know anymore. So it's kind of hard to be like, no, that wouldn't happen. You know, George W. Bush would never say evildoers. No one says evildoers. Come on. All right. So wrapping up the program, guys, we still have the sale going on over at Schrock Innovations right now for the upgrade, the free labor on upgrades from Windows 7 or Windows 8 to Windows 10. It's important to get off that Windows 7 before January, guys. Otherwise, your computer will have some serious security vulnerabilities. The no labor sale is going on right now through the end of the month, but this one is one that's not going to come back. We don't do labor sales very often. In fact, I think we've done 2 in 20 years. This would be number 2. So take advantage of it while you can if you need it. If not, like I said, perfectly legit that you can buy a new computer as well before January, whichever meets your needs better, and we're happy to help you out or help you figure out which is best for you. All right, today's winner, we had 2 callers today with our phone number snafu. Cheryl and Randy, you're both going to get gift cards today. I can't look at a list of 2 names and pick one. Come on. So Cheryl and Randy, you're both going to get gift cards. Congratulations. Thanks for calling the program. We appreciate you being a part of the show today. Stay tuned on Facebook at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations for the After Schrock. We'll tell you what happened with the 800 numbers today, as well as a bunch of other funny stuff from the dip of the week. Have a great day.
This is News Radio 1110 KFAB Omaha. Online at KFAB.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app. And on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos.